Marketing Edge on TV is Nigeria's leading initiative in the business of brand management and the management of brand business. It is a 30-minute awesome package that comprises brand news, branding focus, and industry conversation all in a mix, encompassing thorough and in-depth analysis aimed at promoting the brand idea. My name is Bababumi Agbibi. Welcome to the program.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
We begin with brand news, where we bring you the latest developments around brands and in the field of marketing and advertising in Nigeria and around the world. Billionaire businessman and First Holdco chairman Femi Otedola says he has invested more than 600 billion naira of his personal wealth in the financial services group. Speaking in his first major interview as chairman, Otedola described the investment as a long-term generational commitment. Meanwhile, First Holdco's profits before tax surged over 83% to 653.4 billion naira in the first half of 2026. Otedola says the focus now is stronger governance, renewed trust, and positioning the group as a leading financial services player in Nigeria and Africa. Nigeria's advertising industry is taking a fresh look at its long-standing pitch culture as practitioners call for greater fairness, transparency, and value in agency client competitions. Industry experts are questioning unpaid speculative pitches, arguing that agencies should not be expected to surrender valuable ideas, strategy, and intellectual property simply to compete for business. Meanwhile, other industry eggheads are advocating clearer pitch rules, transparent evaluation criteria, and fair compensation where agencies commit substantial resources without winning an account. Other leading voices also want pitches to go beyond impressive presentations, focusing instead on genuine business challenges, measurable solutions, and stronger agency-client partnerships.
Stars on audition. If an agency is well positioned, done some good work, or great work, and you see them, why do you want them to go through the humiliation of coming to stand up and say, pick me? And we often do that as agencies. I think it is pretty poor. This is why value and values need to come to the table. Because if you value me enough, we need to have a conversation. Do you ask lawyers to pitch? When you go to a lawyer, you say, oh, I'm looking at, tell me exactly what you'll be saying in court, how you handle the case, and please let me know how much it will cost. Is that how it works? You ask doctors to pitch. When you go to a doctor, you say, doctor, please, I want to know give me the prescription.
As Nigeria approaches another election cycle, the out-of-home advertising industry is being challenged to uphold ethics, transparency, and equal access. Speaking at the 41st Annual General Meeting of the Out-of-Home Advertising Association of Nigeria in Abeokuta, marketing expert Dr. Theodore Ikechi warned against political interference, excessive permit fees, and selective regulation. He also called for stronger self-regulation, predictable policies, and equal access to advertising spaces for all political parties. Meanwhile, Ikechi urged OAN to secure a legal charter, saying it would strengthen the association's ability to defend the industry and promote fair practice during election seasons. Nigeria's advertising industry is being challenged to rethink regulation as artificial intelligence and digital platforms rapidly transform marketing communications. Speaking at ACON's 4th Annual Advertising Industry Colloquium, keynote speaker Olumide Akomo, represented by Professor Rotimi Olatunji, said platforms, people, and regulation are redefining the industry. Akomo urged ACON to adopt more agile regulation, strengthen local content, and protect indigenous talent. He also called for broader stakeholder engagement, including content creators and influencers, while warning that analog regulatory approaches can no longer effectively govern the digital advertising space.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
That was brand news. Next is branding focus after this break.
Every day, millions of Nigerians walk past your next customer. The question is, can they see you? Nimbus Media puts your brand exactly where Nigeria is already looking. High-impact digital screens inside shopping malls, supermarkets, gyms, and the busiest locations across Nigeria. From billboards to brand activations, we make sure you show up and show up boldly. We've helped brands launch, grow, and become the name people remember in the moments that matter the most. Your audience is already out there. It's time they found you. Nimbus Media. Visibility. Done right. Book your campaign today at nimbus.com.ng.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
Now, brand in focus. In business-to-business marketing, logic may get the credit, but perception often makes the sale. Experts say buyers don't just evaluate specs, features, and cost. They also weigh how a brand feels in the market. When competing products look similar, the winning edge often comes from image, the impression of skill, innovation, or authority. From sleek websites to thought-leading reports, polished presentation builds trust before a product is even tested. Even in high-stakes deals, emotion hides under the surface. Decision makers often choose the safe name to avoid career risk, a choice driven by fear of getting it wrong. Social proof, like client testimonials and big-name partnerships, helps seal the deal. Analysts warn that focusing only on price or features can cost brands their competitive advantage. Perception is not about deception, but about showing value in a way that matches how people truly decide. The playbook? Take control of your narrative. Keep branding sharp, share wins, and collect third-party validation. Every touch point should make your brand look and feel like a leader. In B2B, it's not always the best product that wins. It is the best presented one. And in today's crowded market, perception may just be your most valuable asset.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
Next is Industry Conversation, where we discuss with industry thought leaders who have distinguished themselves and have made tremendous impacts in their chosen field. Join us after this break.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
When I say golden, you say penny. When I say golden, you say penny. Golden penny, golden penny. Wake up to breakfast with my golden penny. I dey enjoy my first choice, nourishing goodness every morning. Oh, Cabina play, yummy dishes every day. Mama's recipe they upgrade. Oh, when she's using golden penny. Quality we deliver. Crunchy snacks, golden penny. Serving happiness, nourishing. Golden penny, yummy golden penny, delicious golden penny. Serving yummy golden penny, delicious golden penny.
Golden Penny, home of good foods. Serving happiness, nourishing families. Yum!
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
On Industry Conversation today, we'll be having the concluding part of our conversation with the Chief Executive Officer, TBWA Concept Unit, George Isitua-Onukwu. Thanks for staying with us.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about pressure on the side of agencies. That's the businesses, the brands putting pressure on agencies, saying that sales should prove investment. Do you agree? Should sales alone determine return on investment?
No, because you have what they call brand equity, right? And your brand equity is also as important as sales. I think sales is very important, don't get me wrong. I think that is always a measurable metric that we should check. But I think brand equity is also very important. And one of the things I push a lot, my team knows, is Net Promoter Score. So what's your brand health like? What's your brand equity like? Where does brand affinity lie in? All those metrics all tie into sales, right? Spontaneous awareness, for instance. So these are metrics that need to be clear. But I think more importantly is to have a sit down and have those very strong conversations with our clients. I think that's something that our agencies need to do better. At the beginning of the year, of it was the fourth quarter, as it is with most companies, that's when they start doing the planning. You should have those really, really interesting conversations with clients, asking them where is their business, where do they want to go, is sales really the main thing that they're looking for, what problems are they trying to solve within the categories they operate in. Sometimes the problem can be a customer perception. Sometimes it could be a trade problem, a serious trade problem, for instance. So it's really about distilling the real issues, right? Discovery, analysis, diagnosis before you prescribe. So we shouldn't just jump in and apply paracetamol because somebody says he has a fever or is having a headache. So that distillation and that discovery diagnosis is very key before being able to proffer solutions towards the problem. So for me, it's always about that consultative phase. And that again, I talked about client intimacy, having deep conversations with your customer, with your client, on what the issues are, and then hopefully taking it further from there.
The relationships between clients and agencies, they've changed significantly over the years.
Yes.
Now, what makes a successful agency-client relationship today?
Well, I think it's first and foremost, if you can move away from a vendor relationship, right, into a partnership. I think the best relationships we've had, or at least I've experienced, has been one where the client saw us as partners. They carried us along through their process. They were open to give us the information that we were required for to do really well in the business, and they joined us in the creative development process, the strategic thinking, the creative development, the production of assets, and the deployment and measurement of those campaign materials, and then even the results, right? So those partnerships, I think, are where we should be going. It hasn't always been there, and each client is very, very different. But my biggest advice is seek a partnership. And from an agency point of view, I don't believe you should, the strategy of an agency should be to retain clients or to keep clients. I think that's the wrong mindset. The strategy from an agency point of view should be to grow the client's business. And I think once you have that mentality that, okay, I want to grow your business, you change the questions and the engagements you're going to have with your clients. So focus less on trying to retain and fight to keep a business. Because when you're fighting, you're on the back foot, and then your strategy and your tactics are going to be very different. But if you're thinking about how I can grow this business, what I'm doing, what systems and processes I have in place to grow that business, then in the long term, you're most likely going to have a much better, healthier relationship with your client. And then the chances of you keeping and retaining that business, I think, is higher. I don't think a client wants to change an agency that is helping them to grow their business, increasing sales from X to X1 to X2, or improving brand affinity, or driving and then promoter score. So I think those are the kind of, that for me is the mindset, is that the conversation should shift from a vendor mindset to one where you are growth partners.
Industry debt is a major concern.
Yes.
Now, how serious is the problem, and what practical solutions do you think can be offered to this problem?
Well, I think already, again, I'll commend the DG of Akon. I think he's already done a bit of that. He's legislated and spoken at length about the need to reduce the payment terms for debts, for instance. So we had in the past 90 days, 1 day, 220 days payment cycles, which obviously not unsustainable. It really brought down a lot of agencies. So I think he's been very clear about that, and he's been very vocal about ensuring that the payment terms are a whole lot shorter. So I think that has helped. But I think more importantly, again, is agencies need to question the internal systems and processes that they have, right? I think there's still a weakness, structural weaknesses that each agency needs to look at internally. How are you billing? What software system process do you have to make sure you manage your debt portfolio? Who is handling the financial process? And is there a clear SOP within the agency to make sure that certain standards, best in practice, accounting principles are put in place at all times? So I think largely it's about agencies first building the right structure and the platform internally to manage that financial process, being clear on the terms, and then also not being afraid to walk away when the terms are not favorable to you. Because I think sometimes there is a negotiation weakness that sometimes comes because you want to keep a business, you want to take business. And I just feel like that's not a very healthy way to start a relationship. The negotiation must be favorable for both sides. That way we can really journey together and help to grow the business.
When companies cut advertising budgets,
Yeah.
what do they stand to lose? Let's be real.
I think it can be read either way. The big question is, why are you cutting advertising budgets, right? So there could be real reasons why they are cutting advertising budget. I think it's to find out the why first, before determining, whether it's the right direction to do. Different segments, different sectors of the economy have different reasons for cutting down their budgets, and sometimes I can associate with those reasons. For instance, if you look at what happened with the war in Iran and how it affected petroleum derivatives, and how it can have an impact, for instance, in people who make products that require plastics, bottled soft drinks, for instance, it will have an impact on their business. So, you expect the CEO for that company to look at what other ways can I survive during this period, right? So there are definitely good reasons why clients might cut down budget. But for me, it's always, what is the opportunity cost? So what is the opportunity cost if you had decided to do the marketing, right? You decided to invest in budgeting, in your marketing. And you've seen brands who have done the exact opposite. Rather than cutting down costs, they went in hard on marketing, right? And in some cases, there was a long-term strategy that was put in place for that to happen. So they were, at that point in time, they were not looking at those quick gains, which sometimes brands tend to make a mistake. They were looking at long-term gains. And then you're beginning to see, we've seen businesses, for instance, which I can't mention here on the call, who have really been aggressive in the market. And 3 years down the line, they are number one in their category as we speak. So there's always an opportunity cost missed when you don't invest in marketing. So I tell clients, before you do that, have a clear understanding of where you're going, from a business point of view, what marketing objectives you try to achieve this year, both short-term and long-term, and then make a conscious, disciplined decision, not a reactive one, not an emotional one.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the bright idea.
When I say golden, you say penny. When I say golden, you say penny. Golden penny, golden penny. Wake up to breakfast with my golden penny. I dey enjoy my first choice, nourishing goodness every morning. Oh, up in a plate, yummy dishes every day. Mama's recipe they upgrade. Oh, when she's using golden penny. Quality we deliver. Crunchy snacks, golden penny. Serving happiness, nourishing. Golden penny, yummy golden penny, delicious golden penny. Serving. Yummy golden penny, delicious golden penny.
Golden Penny, home of good foods. Serving happiness, nourishing families. Yum!
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the bright idea.
Nigerian agencies rarely reveal revenue
Of
or business performances.
Yes.
Why do you think this is, and do you think it should change? Do you think that culture should change?
Well, I mean, they're primarily limited bodies first and foremost. So I guess it all depends on what every business is trying to achieve or to do. But I think it really just depends on individuals. I'm not really big on who wants to reveal what and not. I think it's a good PR thing if you are. I think you see the global agencies do that every now and then, and they use that to signal as a signal to clients about their performance. But I think also because of the flip-flop nature of the industry in Nigeria, it's not something that most agencies will be open to share, especially when you have a negative in this year and then a positive in the next year. So I think once you start seeing real sustainable growth within the industry, I think you might see more and more people much more willing to reveal their numbers. But personally, I don't have a challenge with that. I think if people want to keep their numbers within, it's all okay by them.
Many brands now have in-house creative teams. Help them build the brands and adopt artificial intelligence and all. So what role do you see external agencies play in the future?
I don't think I'm worried about clients having internal agencies within there. I think that's a completely different model. And the modus operandi in those systems are usually built around operational excellence, efficiency, and cost saving, rather than really doing great work. I think agencies should focus on what they do best, which is to do great work, bring value to the client, and act as an advisor, an advisory service consultant to the client. So I think if you get distracted by internal agencies, then you're actually doing the wrong thing. We should focus on building the creative engine, the brand intelligence engine within the agency. And I think once that we are able to prove value, clients might still keep their internal agencies, whether they're doing AI or not, and then all of that. But the real clients who are looking at results are looking for somebody who would not necessarily agree to everything that is being said, but want somebody who can challenge them. And we have clients who want that challenge. They want clients to think different. They want their agencies, to think differently about their business, to proffer solutions that they were not thinking all along. So you will still have those kind of clients and brands who see value in having an external consultant to provide marketing service to their business. So I'm not worried about clients setting up internal agencies. I think our current agencies in our industries are very good, are very strong, and are capable to provide the necessary value that clients will always see as important to their business. So the key thing is to build capacity and competency as an agency, and not focus and worry yourself about what internal structures clients are putting in their offices.
The 2027 general elections,
Yes.
we're having that next year. What opportunities, what responsibilities do you see for agencies, advertising agencies?
Well, I think it's definitely an opportunity. You see what happens in the US, and you see all the amazing creative work that are done there. I personally like watching the US election, not because I'm supporting any candidate, but I see quite a lot of creative work and a lot of innovative work that is done, to pull voters in one direction. So I think from that point of view, there's always an opportunity. I think political campaigns are very interesting. It's a different dynamic compared to selling biscuits or selling a bank product or a finance product. So I definitely see that, that as an opportunity for agencies to test their prowess, improve their sense of creativity, and drive innovation within the industry. I think that's a good thing. I think there's obviously the ethical part about it, which I think our partner as a regulator is very firm on. So, that's why they are there. So I think creativity within the remit of ethics and best practices, I think should be maintained at all times. And I think it's for the agencies to know that, to honor their code as ACOM members and ensure that we do the right thing at the right time.
You've once said industry conversations generate applause rather than
Applause.
action. Yes,
That's
rather
it.
than action.
Yes.
So what practical changes would you like to see across the advertising ecosystem?
So, well, for us, especially in TBWA, it's something that we hold very dear to us. Action, not words. So for us, I would like to see more wins and more presentations in Cannes, and I think we're beginning to see that. For instance, we would like to see more innovative ideas coming in from our market. So I think rather than chase PR for PR's sake, applause for applause sake, accolades for accolades sake, let's do the job. Right? And let's build products and IPs that speak for themselves. And, the rest will be history. I think if you do really good work and if you come up with innovative ideas, you don't need anybody you don't need to beat your chest by yourself. I think others would acknowledge you and see the value in what you do. That's our own underlying principle, is that let the products speak for themselves. Let the work speak for themselves. So represent ourselves like an art gallery. When you go to an art gallery, you don't hear the artists talk and explain themselves. You go in there and then you see things and then you admire the work. So for us, that's the ethos, and that's how we build our business.
On a personal note, you've achieved one of the highest positions in the industry. What legacy do you hope to leave there, not just at TBWA,
Yes.
but also in the advertising industry?
Well, like I mentioned before, for me, it's about building a category of one, right? We don't see ourselves as competing with other agencies. We see ourselves as providing value, number one, to our clients and to our internal customers, which are our staff. So for us, it's very important, a disciplined, future-thinking company that solves problems for ourselves, creates products for ourselves, and solves marketing problems for our clients. For us, that's a major legacy that hopefully we're able to leave, is that people know this, associate us with creating not just good advertising, premium creative work, but associate us with creating IPs. In the next couple of years, we hope to be able to push a lot of our intellectual property and new products and innovations into the market, and we hope to see great and successful adoption from our clients, and of course, even B2C retail clients as well.
Thank you for having this conversation with us. It's been very interesting.
Thank you very
so
much.
I've been speaking with the Chief Executive Officer, TBWA Concept Unit, George Isitua-Onukwu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The conversation continues on our social media platforms at Marketing Edge and also our website at www.marketingedge.com.ng. Many thanks for watching. My name is Babumi Agbibi.